Number 5, Houston back in the saddle again, folks. Houston Texans. I was looking at some of Houston's defensive numbers to make sure I wasn't overreacting. They are top 3 in total yards allowed. Joe Mixon came back strong, by the way. They had some injuries at the running back position. They went on and Mixon was so good, they traded Cam Akers elsewhere. They traded him up to, I think, Minnesota or somebody. I can't. Where did they trade Green Acres? They traded him to Minnesota somewhere. I didn't get the compensation, but I'm sure it was for an end table. But anyways, so Joe Mixon came back 135 total yards, 2 touchdowns. C.J. Stroud, by the way, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, carried this team when they had their 2 starting running backs out. By the way, who was the left tackle? He's been in and out too. Laremy Tunsil's been in and out as well. They've got 1 loss. They look like they're going to run off with the AFC South. So they are back. Listen, top 3 in run defense. You've got the franchise quarterback there. You've got the running game there. You've got the receiving core there. Now, they may make a move at receiver, but they still got Diggs. They've got Tank Dell. They've got Schultz there. I know that Nico's going to be out for a while. I don't know if Nico's out for the season or not. I know he's not going to be. I think they can live without Nico. Everybody else says, people say otherwise, and I know they beat up on a bad Patriot team, but I still think that they're head and shoulders the best team in the AFC South, and they're one of the better teams in the league, and they're getting better defensively overall, if you ask me. DeMeco Ryans doing a really good job there. Okay, number 4. I understand that Detroit. I understand that's fit. Pickles wanting to trade Jeffrey Simmons. He's in his prime. Okay, now number 5, Pickles says, we've got Houston there at number 5. Number 4, Detroit. I know they took a big hit for over the last few days, folks. I didn't know if you got a chance to see that, but the Lions here, Aiden Hutchinson's going to be out for the season. Okay. Listen, in Brad Holmes, I trust. Okay. I just mentioned Spot Track, mentioned that there is a possibility that he could be dealt. They broke down maybe getting Max Crosby or somebody like that. I don't know if they can pull off a trade of that magnitude. That would be a blockbuster. This stuff don't really happen that much here. That would be an interesting thing there. By the way, okay, never mind. Okay, anywho. So Detroit, the Aiden Hutchinson things, I think that will be dealt with between now and the trade deadline. They've got a big game this weekend coming up against Minnesota. That'll be one of our games we'll break down. Minnesota's home off a bye. I was going to lean Minnesota in the preseason anyways in that game, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Again, Detroit, 2 40-point games back-to-back for the first time since 1962. They've got their center, one of the best centers in the league. I want to say arguably the best offensive line, if not the best offensive line in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. They're both top 5. I don't think I've seen this of anybody else other than the 49ers when they were real hot last year, but they're top 5 in both passing and running. They got more balance than a Baltimore. They're top 5 in both passing and running. And I looked up the fact that their defense has gotten a lot better. They're 8th in points allowed, and I want to say they're top 5 in points and rush defense. So they've really got a lot going on for them. They've had problems in their back end. A lot of that was their defensive coordinator there. Not a big fan of his. I wish they had Brian Flores, but nothing can be perfect. But they're at number 4. Detroit is my number 4 team there. Pickles, appreciate you. Baltimore, listen. Baltimore, they did beat one of the hottest teams at number 3 in the NFL. I said that there's a possibility playing that cross town. They're talking 30-something miles apart here. 30-something, that's about an hour drive from Landover to Baltimore because of the traffic, but it's under 40 miles. It's 35 miles from Landover, Maryland to Baltimore. So Commanders are putting up points on everybody. They held that team to 23 points. Still by far the best run defense in the NFL. You have to throw the ball almost every single down to beat the Ravens. It just is what it is. Ravens still got a really good pass rush. Their overall defense looked much better, much improved last week. They lead the league in rushing. They lead the league also in total yards. So between Henry and Lamar Jackson, I mentioned Zay Flowers. He's getting open. You've got the dual threat there. You got the 2 tight ends now. Likely is even the better athlete than Mark Andrews. They could probably trade Mark Andrews for somebody else who needs a tight end. You never know. And maybe they get some help there on the back end there for the Ravens. So I got the Ravens at number 3. Now they're surging, but let's see how Pittsburgh plays them really well. They match up really well. But I got the Ravens at number 3, and I have no animosity towards that. Listen, Kansas City, they were off last week, but they did beat the Ravens. They do have their issues here offensively. But listen, Kareem Hunt, as I said last week, looked like the old Kareem Hunt ketchup bottle that I'm used to seeing. I like what I've seen out of him, and I like the usage out of the play, the coaching there with Andy Reid and that defense there. And they're 5th in run defense as well. They're actually number 5. I think Detroit's number 4. I didn't realize run defense, that used to be their big Achilles heel. But Spagnuolo there, at defensive coordinator, I had no idea they were that good at run defense. No wonder they're that hard to beat. See, the whole motto, the whole idea is run the ball, keep Mahomes off the field, but they're 5th in run defense. You're going to have to throw the ball some to beat that Kansas City defense because you got to keep Mahomes off the field. I don't care if he's got a bunch of high school guys up there. It looks like him and Andy Reid, they're just going to find a way to beat you at the end of the day. So they're undefeated. They did beat Baltimore. They're probably going to make a move. And like I said earlier, I think they're going to make a move eventually with maybe a Tennessee or somebody and get one of those wide receivers. Do they make a move with the Bears? Do they make a move with the Bears and get Keenan Allen and get the Bears and throw a pick back at the Bears for an aging Keenan Allen? They need him just 1 year. Allen knows the AFC West. I'm up here planting seeds, right, Pickles? But either way, I think they're going to come back next week. They'll be pretty strong here on both sides. And I do think they're going to start getting some losses. But I still got them at number 2. And I would have them higher than number 2, but they do have some injuries. But they will get Pistachio, whatever his name is, the running back eventually. But Kareem Hunt's holding it down, man. Kareem Hunt has not been running that much this year. He's not used up at all. And, of course, number 1 there, number 1, Minnesota, of course, didn't play last week, but their second run defense, Minnesota 63 and point differential. They have the bet. They are killing teams. They are absolutely killing. That's the best point differential in the NFL. 63. Really good on both sides of the ball. A lot of balance. Between Addison, of course, Jefferson. They still don't have their top tight end back, and Hockenson. They're playing Detroit off of a bye week at home this week. I'd probably lean towards Minnesota as well. They're the hottest team right now, but if it would be hard at a neutral site to pick Minnesota over Kansas City. I just think they seem to be the hottest team right now. With that, again, plus 63 point differential. Minnesota is really unexplainable defensively. Their best edge rusher, they shipped him off to Houston last year. I don't think this is going to last. I think Minnesota is going to come down to earth a little bit over the next few weeks. But as of right now, the snapshot, you got Minnesota at number 1, Kansas City number 2, Baltimore number 3, Detroit number 4, and number 5, the Houston Texans. Any 5 of these teams, as of today, if the playoffs started today, those teams would be in the Super Bowl bubble.